Here we go. All right, so find the volume of the oblique rectangular prism shown below. Okay, what makes a prism a prism? Talked about this yesterday a little bit. How is a prism different from a pyramid or a cone?
It has
Two bases. And I want to encourage you to do something, which I did not talk about yesterday. I want you to label those bases with a B. Okay? A capital B. Just so you're aware. Okay? So volume is equal to the area of a base times its height. All right? The shape of this base down here at the bottom, what kind of shape is this down here? Now, it's also kind of slanted looking because it's at an angle. Not a square because the sides are different, right? A rectangle, right. So the area of a rectangle is going to be length times width. So the area of this base is length times width. Okay? Are you with me? All right. All right, so length I'm going to say is 2. My width is 4. And my height, am I looking at a slant height or am I looking at a perpendicular height? Perpendicular, yes. So I am not going to use 20. I am going to use 16. So volume is equal to all of these things multiplied together. Jeremiah. Get your head up, man. Stay with us, okay? You got your packet out?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So 2 times 4 is 8. 8 times 16. Oh, gosh, is it 128? And I did not do a great job. I think this was actually one of the examples that we did yesterday. Did you guys recognize that? Centimeters cubed. What?
I think you're right.
I know. So, oops. But hey, if you were kind of paying attention, maybe you got that. Volume, 3-dimensional, so it's centimeters cubed. Any questions about that? Okay, so look over here. What do we call this figure? Is this a pyramid? Is this a prism? What is it? Is it a mess? What is this figure? Come on. A triangular prism. Yes, thank you. Triangular prism. I want you to put a big capital B on the bases. So it's got 2 bases. That makes it a prism. All right? And volume of a prism is equal to the area of the base times the height. All right? What is the shape of my base? It is a triangle. Now, triangle, hopefully you kind of remember, the area of a triangle is 1/2 times the base of the triangle times the height of the triangle. So, in place of this B right here, I'm saying 1/2. What is the base of just my triangle? 7 is the base, yes. And 8 is my height. That is a perpendicular height. It's straight up and down. So that's what we want. So 1/2 times 7 times 8. That is just the area of the base. Then I need to multiply that by the height of my prism. Now, the reason I want you, everybody listen to me. Everybody look right here. The reason I want you to write down these bases is because the height of the prism is the line between the 2 bases, between the 2 B's. So this is your height, okay? That's really difficult for some to understand. It is not the height of the triangle. It's the height between the two bases. So what is that height of this prism then? 12. Does that make it easier for some of you? Hopefully it does. All right, so we're multiplying these all together. I get half of 8. I'm going to say that's 4. And then times 7 times 12. I always think that's a little bit easier to do. Not a lot. So on your calculators, 4 times 7 times 12. I don't know what that is. What is it?
28.
Well, 28, right, and then times 12. 336. And how am I going to label it? Meters cubed. Volume is cubes. Okay? All right. Very important what I think I brought to the table today, and that's the capital B's. Put capital B's on the bases. The height is the distance from one base to another. The height of that prism. Questions on that? Okay. All right. If you are done with that, you had a question, Micah, on one of the homework assignments. Is that right? Let's see. The one we just had last night, right? Are you done yet, Daniel? Okay. And I am recording this. Okay. And let's see. Let's go. Bring out your homework from last night. You guys ever seen Monty Python? Bring out your dead. Bring out your dead. No? If you haven't seen it, you have no idea what I'm talking about. Is it number 22? Is that the one you were talking about? Maybe? 24. Okay. So you had 1, 2, 3, 22, and 24. He's asking for 24. I'm going to go over this one quickly. And I appreciate the fact that he's asking. Gives all of you a chance to look over these. So inside a lobby, there is a bench shaped like a simple block with a square base. Square base. What does that mean about the sides of it? Square base that measures 6 feet on each side. What does that mean? Square base. I know what a square looks like, right? Okay, so that's not a good looking square. And I often think it helps to draw a picture. What are the lengths of these sides of the square? What's this one down here? Come on. What is it?
Square.
Right, but what's the length? 6 feet. Now, if this is a square, what do we know about all the sides of a square? They're all the same. So what is the length of this side over here? 6. And if we needed to, we know this one's 6 and we know this one is 6, right? Okay. So a bench shaped like a simple block with a square base that measures 6 feet on each side. The height of the bench is 1 3/5 feet. You're like, ew. All right, so basically, I think this is going to look like just a solid bench. And this height between my bases, here's my top base, here's the bottom. This height right here is 1 3/5 feet. Yes. This is homework 6.6. Okay, 1 3/5 feet. All right, so what is the volume of the bench? Volume is equal to the area of the base times the height. The area of my base is a square. Okay? And the area of a square is one side squared. So since my side is 6, that is going to be 6 squared, 6 to the second power, times my height. Okay, so how do I find this height of 1 3/5? I mean, it's a fraction. How do I do that? I know 1 is just 1. How could I find out what 3/5 is as a decimal? What could you do on your calculators? What could you do? Divide. So take 3 divided by 5. 3 divided by 5 on your calculator. What is that decimal? 0.6. So 1 3/5 is 1 plus 3/5, which is 1.6. So 6 squared is 36 times 1.6. What does that give me for a volume? I don't know. What is 36 times 1.6? 57.6. We're talking volume, so it's going to be feet cubed. Okay? So 1 3/5, when you have a mixed number, it's the whole number plus the fractional amount, which you can change to a decimal. Does that kind of make sense now? Don't be afraid of word problems. Just read it slowly, read it carefully, and kind of underline the important parts. All right, now let's go back to your notes. Let's go to page, I think it's 28 on mine, page 28 of the notes. We are talking about volume of pyramids. Volume of pyramids. Is a pyramid a prism? No, it's not. It doesn't have 2 bases. It only has 1. Okay? So here it says in words, the volume of a pyramid. This is page 28. Page 28. The volume of a pyramid is 1/3 times capital B, where that's the area of the base, times the height, perpendicular height. So everybody, I want you to write this really big. Volume of a pyramid is 1/3 times the area of the base times the height. Put that in a big cloud or something so you can see it visually. Genesis, are you with us? Okay. All right. So they show us a couple of different models here. Here they have the height. Here it's called the altitude. It has to be perpendicular. And here they have kind of this a slanty type of pyramid, but the height is still perpendicular, straight up and down. Okay? All right, so looking at the bottom, example 4, volume of a pyramid. Well, volume is 1/3 area of the base times the height. You always start with that, okay? Start with your formula. 1/3 times, you're like, oh my gosh, that is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is a... Gosh, what do they call a 6-sided figure? That's good. I'm glad you remembered that. Hexagon on the bottom. I was thinking something else. But you're right. I should have known that. Okay, they are showing us here. Look at this. It says capital B is 22 centimeters. That is the area of your base. So we don't have to even calculate anything on this one. So the area of my base here is 22 times my height. I just need to make sure. Is this a perpendicular height, straight up and down at a right angle? Yes. So multiply that times 5 equals, all right. So some of you I know do not love this kind of stuff because we got a fraction out front. Here's what I would tell you to do. There's a couple different ways you could do it. I would take 1 divided by 3. I want everybody to try this on the calculators if you have one near you, or even on your phone. 1 divided by 3 times 22 times 5, and tell me what you get. Because this fraction is 1 divided by 3. It's the top number divided by 3. 1 divided by 3 times 22 times 5. What are we getting?
36.66.
36.66. Exactly? Or does it keep going?
It keeps going.
What's after the next 6?
Some sixes.
More 6s?
Yeah.
All right. So if I rounded it to that place, it would be 36.67. How am I going to label this?
Centimeters squared.
Centimeters, not squared.
No, centimeters then, right?
No. Centimeters cubed.
Oh, okay.
We're finding volume, so that is cubed. Yes. How come what? Is it? What does it say? I don't get it. What do you mean? Oh, gosh. Ooh, because that's a mistake. I forgot to put a 3rd up there. That's my bad. So those of you that got some notes, who just left? Jewels? Those of you that got some notes from me, example 4, I forgot the 1/3. So thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, you still write down your notes on the just in case.
Yeah.
Some of the other notes that you gave us.
Oh, right. Sometimes I do them a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, so let's look at this next pyramid. Volume. So volume equals 1/3 times the area of the base times the height. So 1/3 stays the same. Look at my base. What is that base? Says it's 10 by 10. It is a square. Area of a square is side squared. So it's 1/3 times 10 to the 2nd power, because that's my side, times the height. Okay, this height they're showing is 18 centimeters. Is that a perpendicular height? Is that straight up and down? Has it got a little, look on your paper, or maybe I need to erase. Does it have a little right angle at the bottom? Yes, it does. So that is your perpendicular height. So that is times 18. Okay. I'm going to simplify this. Maybe I'm not. I was going to say 18 times the 3rd is like 18 divided by 3, but let's not do that. Let's do 1 divided by 3. That's your 1/3 times 10, and then you hit the x squared button, which gives you the squared, times 18. And what are we getting? Should be 100 times 18, 1800 divided by 3, 600. Did you guys get 600?
Yeah.
Okay. So 600, how do I label it? Centimeters cubed, yes.
What's that thing next to the on the right pyramid? What is that?
That's the X squared button.
Oh. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Volume. This is volume. You're seeing how many little cubes fit inside this figure. And some of you might be asking, why is this 1/3? Well, it's obviously not a prism with two bases because the sides would be coming straight up. And really, if you were to take two other pyramids on either side of it, all of them together would make up the volume of a square prism. Okay? So 1/3, that's like 1 out of 3 equal parts. But we will give you that formula. We'll give you that little cheat sheet too. Questions on those two problems? All right, guys, wake up. You can do this. Let's go to the next page. Volume of a composite solid. We've talked about this once. We're going to talk about it a little bit more. So I have two shapes here. Okay. Says find the volume of the prism. The prism is here on the bottom. Okay. So volume of a prism is the area of the base times the height. Okay. Here's the B. That's a base. And my other base is up here on top. But we're not really going to count that because we got this pyramid on top. But let's take a look at our base. It is 6 by 6. So this is another square on the bottom. Right? So square on the bottom is going to be 6 squared times what is the height from one base to the other. The height in between those bases is 3 inches. Yes. So that height is 3. So the volume is 6 squared, which is 36 times 3. If you do that on the calculator, you're going to get 108 inches cubed. That is just the prism, the bottom part. Okay, just the prism. Now we're going to find volume. I got to think volume. I was thinking surface area. Volume. Now we got to find the volume of the pyramid. The volume of the pyramid is 1/3 times the area of the base times the height of the pyramid. Okay? So 1/3 times, what's the base of the pyramid? Well, the base of the pyramid is still that square. Okay? So that's going to be 6 squared times the height of the pyramid. Oof. Now, my question to you is, do we have this perpendicular height of the pyramid? We do not. I need this perpendicular height. I have a slant height here, which is 5. And this altitude goes right to the middle of that square. Here's my question to you. What is, because we're going to have to calculate it. And guess what we're going to have to use to calculate it? We're going to have to use Pythagorean theorem. What is this length here in this kind of orange neon color? It goes from the center altitude out to the edge of that square. Not the angle. What is this length right here? It is not 5. If you're looking at it from the front, this whole length is 6, right? If this altitude goes right to the middle of that pyramid, that is 3. Does everybody see that? It is going to be half of that distance. Half of that distance of 6. You don't see what I'm saying? Right here. Let me do a different color. So this distance right here, which would go all the way across. It could go all the way across. This much of it is 3, and this much of it is 3 because the whole distance is 6. And that altitude drops right down the middle. Do you see what I'm saying? So we need to use Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. My A is going to be this bottom part. My B, that's what we need to find. And my C is 5. So 3 squared plus B squared, which is what we're trying to find, equals 5 squared. 3 squared is 9. Plus B squared equals 25. Subtract 9 from both sides. B squared equals 16. But I don't want B squared. I just want B. So I have to take the square root there. So B is equal to 4. So that means this height is 4 inches. So I'm coming over here with my 4. Now I can multiply these all out. On your calculator, 1 divided by 3 times 6 squared. 36 divided by 6 is 12 times 4 should be 48. 48 inches cubed. That is just for the pyramid. This was for the prism. If this is a composite solid, you're going to add those two together. So 48 and 108 should give you 156 inches cubed, or cubic inches. Because you found each of them separately, and then you're going to add them together. What questions do you have about that? Okay. What? Did I do it wrong on there again? Oh, okay. All right, so your homework, your assignment, should you choose to accept it, as they say on James Bond, is homework 6.6. To finish the rest of that, there should be just, if you did the homework last night, 4 more problems. Of course, I don't remember what they are, but you need to complete that. Okay, so I am going to bring that up with you now, and let's get that started. 6.6, that homework. Come on, go back. 6.6, here we go. So your homework tonight is to do 9 and 10. 9 and 10. And on the back, 21 and 23. 9, 10, 21, and 23. You tell me which one would you like me to go over now. Here's 9. These are all volumes. Here's 10. What? Oh. Sorry. Thanks for letting me know. There we go. 9 and 10. All right, let's do 10. This is volume. Okay? Volume equals, for a pyramid, 1/3 times the area of the base times the height. So 1/3 is going to stay the same. What shape is this base? It is a triangle. So the area of a triangle is 1/2 times the base of the triangle times the height. So 1/2 base times height of the triangle. So the base, I want a different color. The base is right here. So I'm going to say 1/2 of 24 times the height of the triangle. Well, as you look at this triangle, are they perpendicular?
No.
Actually, they are. See this little right angle thing right there?
Oh,
That's showing the height is perpendicular. So that height is 7. Oops. Okay.
28.
28. No, we're just talking about the base. This is just the base. Good question, good point there. So the base is our triangle. Bless you. Yeah.
So it's pretty much a triangle.
What?
It's pretty much a triangle. Right?
It is a triangle on the bottom, and that's what we're finding. So 1/2 of 24 is 12, and 12 times 7 is going to be 84 inches squared. We're just going to say 84. 84. Times the height of the prism. Height of the prism. So as you look at this prism, they're only showing me one more number. Is this 28 inches? Is that the perpendicular height of the prism? Yes, it is, because they're showing another little right angle there. So I need to take that times 28. And on your calculators, if you take 1 divided by 3 times 84 times 28, this was a separate sheet that I passed out yesterday. Did anybody calculate that? 2, 6, 24, 28 squared. It's whatever 28 times 28 is. 784 inches cubed. That is your volume.
You said here,
I'm sorry?
volume.
Volume?
Volume.
Volume? Okay. Volume. 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 I don't know if I've ever heard it called volume. Just saying.
I've never heard it called volume.
Oh, volume? I don't think I said volume.
That's what you're saying, volume.
Volume. Volume.
That's like something like a robot.
Volume. Put the emphasis on the vol. Vol. Okay. Bless you. Yes, we all need many blessings. Even if you don't believe. Yeah.
It's like those old phones they used to say when you turn up the thing and take like the volume here.
Take a volume what?
It's at the old phone, like when I used to turn up the phone on like on an older phone, they used to say volume, and then it's so weird.
Oh, okay. Well, back in my day, we had rotary phones that were on the wall. Have any of you even dialed a rotary phone?
No, I never. I mean,
It's weird. You gotta go shh, and you gotta wait for it to go back, and then you go meep, meep, meep,
Yeah,
meep.
100 years down there.
It was just like that.
Mr. Williams said he did it by muscle memory.
Oh yeah.
If you know the number, you can just
So there's one on the front, another volume, one. Ooh, let me give you a heads up on this one. Because this is a composite figure, you're going to have to do the volume of the prism below and the volume of this other prism, and it is on its side. So remember, the height of the prism is the length between your two bases. Don't just skip this one. Try it.
Wait, if you say it's on its base or the base is on?
The base is the B's on the side, right? Because it is a prism. Yes.
Can you look at this real quick?
Yes.